and gentlemen, welcome to the Nikki Marie Radio Show. Thank you so much for calling in today. I appreciate you. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into music, and also real estate.
Sure. Well, I'm Donahue Baker, and currently I'm a real estate developer. I'm also an entrepreneur. I founded a fintech company called Money Avenue that is really exciting. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk about that later. But my music started really in high school. I no longer produce music, but I did work with some really awesome artists. I'm a Grammy-nominated producer, and it's always been a passion, but I realized very early that if I wanted to have stability in life, I had to pivot and do some other things besides music, even though I had some success in the business. But where I am today is really like the focus of my passion. It's really real estate, and it's really helping other people to build generational wealth.
Yeah. Well, everyone wants to focus on generational wealth. We're all trying to find ways to invest. Like, where do you get started? Or how do you even get started?
Right. So basically I have a system, and the system that I use is very simple. It's basically two ways to create generational wealth, either through real estate, which I believe is the lowest barrier to entry, and there's lots of different asset classes that you can invest in, but real estate is still the one with the lowest barrier to entry, and it also has some of the greatest returns. Just history has proven that, that real estate compared to the stock market delivers a much better ROI. It beats bonds, it beats Forex, it beats just about everything. So I've always looked at real estate as the one thing that will take you out of poverty if you execute it right and execute it the right way. Yeah. The second way is businesses, right? Most people think of businesses as, a store or some retail establishment. The correct way to think of businesses is literally systems, right? Systems that are put together that you can replicate. The best example of systems in business is McDonald's, right? So if you want to open McDonald's, or if you want to establish a McDonald's franchise, what they do is they send you to Chicago. There's a school in Chicago. It's called Hamburger University. I kid you not. Wow. And they force you to go to this school, and you learn everything about operating a McDonald's franchise, how to hire people, how to pick the right location, how to make fries, how to make burgers, right? And they come up with a uniform system, and they say, look, if you buy into our franchise model, we can guarantee you that you will make this amount of money in year 2, this amount in year 3, this amount in year 4. There's a system that can be replicated all over the world to the point where their product is so consistent, the point where they sell billions in burgers every single day. That is a system that's what business is about. So if you have a business, let's say you're an attorney or you're a doctor, and you have a practice, and you're thinking you're being an entrepreneur, you're opening up a practice, but when you leave that practice on vacation, your whole practice shuts down. That is not having a business that has a system. Right? So we show people the pitfalls, but if you're looking to create generational wealth, it's really about real estate, doing it the right way, buy and hold, passive income, creating those pipelines, passive income, or businesses, creating businesses that have systems, businesses that you can set up and run. Literally, you can walk away from your business for a year and you would still make the same amount of money. Those are the only two ways in which you'll be able to create generational wealth.
So I have a question, because, now we're talking about business and systems and stuff. Now with the coronavirus, a lot of people had to walk away from their businesses. I'm trying to figure out, how would people have some type of pandemic situation and still make money?
Right. Well, yeah, so the pandemic is definitely true. I've been here in my intro. I've missed the fact that the way that I created generational wealth through real estate, and the strategy that I used was buy and hold real estate. Now, I'm from humble beginnings. I grew up really in the projects and in affordable housing, but now I buy affordable housing complexes. I own over 500 units, and I can tell you, going through COVID, was been an eye-opening experience. I did have some of my tenants struggle or lose their job or work less hours, and it affected me. But the vast majority were still able to, receive income, and it did not really affect the income that I made. So there's some businesses that are still recession-proof. I think that real estate and sectors of the real estate industry, specifically the sectors that I believe in, which is apartment complexes, people will always need a place to live. And when you rent to people that are in affordable housing, the great thing about that is the government becomes your partner. So as long as the government is open, my tenants are able, that rely on government assistance, are able to pay their rent. God bless that I've been unaffected. I know there are many others that have been affected, but all in all, that's why we have to constantly innovate. We have to constantly think of ways how we can improve our businesses. Yeah. There's many retailers. I know I actually have a very, very good friend that has a business in Washington, D.C. that makes $1 million a week in his business. Wow. His rent is like $300,000 a month, though. So he's struggling with the fact that he had to close his business. But, during this time, instead of closing his business, there's options. He has a built-in fan base. He literally could say, well, we're going to open reduced hours and we're only going to serve takeout. Even though he has a great establishment restaurant, at least he has options. You just have to think about how you can weather the storm, so to speak. So you have to be creative, and you always have to be innovative.
Yeah, that's very true, especially as an entrepreneur. Having that business mindset, how do you keep yourself disciplined when it comes to investing, spending, and figuring out ways to earn more money while you're sleeping?
Right. Literally just that. So I constantly looking for ways to innovate, right? So one of the things that I'm doing right now is I started a company called Money Avenue. It's literally a fintech bank. Now, that bank is launched. We launched it last year, and as we grew, we're in the position right now that we're going after to pay predatory lenders, right? Predatory loans, people that come into our community, they lend between 20, 30%, payday lenders, things like that. We have a product that will allow you to be compensated, really to borrow money between 2 and 3%, and you can get this money and it's fast. So with this product, we're literally going after payday lenders, and the purpose and the whole motivation behind it is to eradicate those businesses that have been keeping people in poverty, right? So this is where innovation comes into. This is where you have to understand your purpose, you have to understand your passion, and where you can make the greatest impact. So at first I was doing like hard money lending out to people that are looking to get in real estate, lending my own money to the real estate developers. To me, the logical evolution of that was literally to have a bank, So that's what I'm building right now. And, we started with businesses doing great, and we're lending across all platforms. We not only have these very quick loans that we can give to people that have low interest rates between 2 and 3%, anywhere up to $1,000 and $10,000 that we fund in less than 3 hours. Not only those products, but we lend on real estate transactions. We also have a product that allows you to get business credit, right? Set up businesses the right way, structure businesses the right way. We show you how everyone needs to have an LLC. I firmly believe that. But the most important thing is to have access to capital. So we show you how to use the power of your LLC to get capital that you needed. We guarantee you with our program, we guarantee you at least $50,000 in cash. So it's a number of different products, number of different services that we are providing to common everyday folk to help them in their process of moving from thousandaire right on to millionaires. And that's our mantra. That's what we do every single day. We help thousandaires turn into millionaires.
How can people find out more information about that?
Well, you can find us. Our website is www.moneyaz.com. Moneyaz, like a street, AZE.com. And you can go to our website. We just launched our version 2 website, which looks pretty good. It explains all of our products. And in addition to that, we also have an app coming out. So the company that we are 2 months ago looks vastly different from the company we are today. And then the company that we're going to be 2 months ago is going to be even more incredible. We're going to have, like, 2 months down the road, we're going to have an app. Sometime after that, we're literally going to see, you're going to see the full effect of what a bank could do, because we'll have the ability to accept deposits, right? We're going to have mobile banking. We're going to be a 100% Black-owned bank in this environment. I think that's really significant. In addition to that, we're going to have low interest rate credit cards that are going to be for businesses, right? So that's a value add that we don't think that's not out there in the market. Another thing that we're going to do is we see the big banks that are killing you with fees and overdraft protection fees. We're going to have free overdraft protection, meaning that a lot of the profit centers of the Wells Fargo's, the Bank of America's, the Chase, they used to have overdraft protection where you can link your credit card, your checking account. So whenever you have a check come in, or you write a check over your balance, if you have enough credit limit on your credit card, instead of charging you $30, $40 fees, what they'll do is charge your credit card, and so your check doesn't bounce. And these are the things that the banks could do so easily, but they realize that. Why do that? They're killing the profit center.
Right.
All of these little things, these little points, we want to fill like a void in the market. That's why we said, we're going to launch this Black Bank. We're going to come out gradually, and it's not going to be a brick and mortar way. We're going to compete with, because I'm not disillusional. I know I can't compete with Chase and those big banks, but, because they can just write one law and wipe us out. they write the laws. They're the legislators, but we can exist in these niches. We can serve our communities. We can cater to the needs of the Black community, and that's where I think we can exist and add value, right? Because yes, $30 fee, $40 fee, you have 3 of those, that adds up. That adds up to the Black family.
Yes, it does.
These are things that we care about, and the value that we're able to deliver to the marketplace. And I think if we do it effectively, I think what we can have is a $1 billion company, and that's my goal, and that's really what I'm looking to build.
I mean, we talk a lot about supporting Black-owned businesses. How important is it? Because I've already said it, but I want you to say it's, how important is it for everyone to support Black-owned businesses?
Well, a lot of what we're seeing today, I'm so proud of the millennials. I'm so proud of the movement that they created. I had some people reached out to me, and they told me about, it's literally like an underground group, and it's this app, and they're able to organize so effectively all over the country, right? But one of the key things that is happening right now, and it's key because it's never happened like this, right? We saw the beginning of it with Dr. Martin Luther King. Right before he was killed, he talked about economic equality. He talked about how that is going to affect our policies, and we see it played out in the policing department. We see it played out in the justice that we get when our people in our community get taken advantage of, because the cops seem to have pinpointed on those that are most vulnerable, right? They go into those communities, the ones that are most vulnerable, and they abuse their power. We've seen that play out, but that change will not come unless we're able to harness the $1.6 trillion that comes from the Black community. Because when the corporations miss that money, they're gonna first of all, they're gonna find out why, and it's happening already during COVID. We're starting to see corporations of all over come out and say, "I support Black Lives Matter." They didn't come out and say all lives matter. They came out and are saying statements, "I support Black Lives Matter." So that's significant, because they've never got that far. They've never got as far to say that Black Lives Matter, like literally in that language specifically, right? So what I think is happening right now is there was a blackout day that just passed. There's another blackout day coming. But if you look back historically, right? If you look back with Rosa Parks, when she basically refused to give up her seat on that bus line, and they said, we're going to rally around you. We're not going to support the Selma bus company. We're going to boycott the bus company. We're going to walk. We're going to carpool, whatever it takes, bicycles, but we're not going to ride the bus. It took 1 year, a full year of boycotting to bring about change, right? And the only way, we live in a capitalistic society, it's so important that we unify and we rally around that key point, because it's a domino effect. When the corporations, when the people that write our laws, like I said before with the banks, right? They write the legislation, but when you can affect their profit, they will write in favorable legislation, and it will benefit us. So the importance of buying black, whether you believe in the movement or not, whether you're white or whether you're black, if you stand for us, if you stand up with us, the change can be felt, because our dollars are how we vote. Our dollars of vote is what gives us power, right? So what I'm seeing is all of these companies coming out, saying they believe and they support our movement, you know, but there's other companies that are not. There are a number of companies that are silent, really to this day, that are not really coming out and stepping up and doing what they're supposed to do. So I want to take this time to definitely highlight those companies as well. I have a short list. I just wanted to run through it real quick.
Yeah.
Walmart, Chick-fil-A, Home Shopping Network, Joe's Crab Shack, Home Depot, Kmart. These are companies that, number one, have not come out and said anything, right? Yeah. They've been silent. They've been the voices that have said, you know, when we've been screaming out just to be recognized, just to scream out for equality and saying Black Lives Matter, they're the voices that say nothing, or they're the voices, even worse yet, that say all lives matter, right? And try to counter what we're trying to do and counter what we're trying to say. So it's important that we not spend our dollars with these companies, and just to not be so long-winded, but to really drive home your point, why it's so important to use our dollars and really carry on, finish this movement and this thing that has started, is because if we don't support those businesses, you know, there'll be other black businesses that can step up and fill the void. You know, that is going to spawn a new Home Depot, a new Walmart, a new Chick-fil-A, a new Home Shopping Network, a new Joe's Crab Shack, a new Kmart. I firmly think that it was the economic impact, the tsunami of support, the tidal wave of emotion that we saw pour out on the streets that people are starting to recognize. I think that it is the unification of black athletes, the NFL players that came together, and the stars of the league unified and did a commercial, put pressure on the NFL. Within 7 hours, the NFL, you know, Commissioner Roger Goodell, who's willing to suspend players and who's kicked players out the league for just peacefully protesting, came out and says that he got it wrong. He got it wrong, and now we support Black Lives. Like, this is monumental change, historic change happening.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just, like I said, I commend the millennials. They really use technology and leverage and put pressure on the right points.
Yeah.
But we have to continue the economic movement, because that is how we really and truly will bring about equality.
Yeah. How do you feel about 2020? A lot of people are saying this has been the worst year so far, and it hasn't even finished. I personally feel that there are a lot of lessons that were learned, and like you said, there's change that's happening. But how do you feel about 2020 so far?
I think personally 2020 was a wake-up call. Literally a wake-up call, and I think it was the best thing to happen. Now, I'm saying that with all due respect to the people that, or the families, mine included, that were affected by COVID, that lost people.
Of course.
Right? I lost 3 people I knew to COVID. What I'm saying, in 2020, we were forced to deal with our families. We were forced to deal with the fact to take a deep, hard look, right? To turn off sports, to really just, you know, take a deep, hard look at our society. Right? There was no sports, there was no public gatherings, there's no speaking engagement, there's no parties, there's no going out to the clubs. We had to, all we have was social media. We were forced to engage with ourselves and take a real hard look at what was happening in our country and really our impact on the world. And I think that alone brought about some change. I think that it was no accident that the situations, protests, everything that came together the way it did. I think COVID played a key, significant part in that. Because if it would have happened, if everyone was doing business as normal and doing what they normally would do and just being oblivious, I think it would have had a different impact. The fact that our people are bored right now. There's some states that are open up, but people were bored and they were pissed, and it was pent up anger, and it bubbled over. And I think that 2020 is that wake up call, and now it really is going to determine where do we go from here, what are we going to do, how are we going to use our newfound voice.
Wow. Yeah. That was very well said. I want to keep on this topic, but I also want to give some people information about credit, because that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, it's all related. It's totally all related, right? And the reason why it's all related, because unless we create wealth and generational wealth in particular, this situation is going to continue. Yeah. So to pivot to credit, we can talk about that. What I'm interested in is empowering entrepreneurs, right? To me, it's like there is no poverty crisis in this country. What this country is suffering from is a lack of creativity. If you have ideas, if you have creativity, you're able to rise above poverty. You're able to get out of poverty, right? We have money. We have money in the Black community. There's money in the hood. I own properties in the hood. I make hundreds of thousands of dollars every single month in the hood, just being a landlord, right? The thing is we need creativity, and everybody that is willing to put the money in to have an idea. I want to give you a pathway, and that pathway is what Money App provides in our business credit program. If you are an entrepreneur and you're listening to us and you have an idea, join our business credit program. You will get $50,000 to put into your business and pursue your idea. Now, that $50,000 will be strictly done and set up the right way, meaning that it won't be linked to your personal credit profile, right? And it will be credit that as you pay off more, your credit limit will be increased. You will be able to create more and more opportunities. You'll be able to create more and more jobs. You'll be able to fund your ideas the right way. And that's what I am doing, and that's what I built as a CPA. The product that I have as a CPA, it is vastly different. So that being said, if you have a business, the business credit program shows you how to set up your business the right way. If you have a business that earns over $50K a year and you can show that on the tax return, we give you a line of credit that is $500,000, right? $500,000, if you can scale your business with that money, that puts you on another level, allows you to level up. So check out the website, check out Money App, reach out to us if you have any funding needs. We are doing a lot of business where we've done zero advertising, but people are, word of mouth, people are definitely reaching out to us, and we're helping, we're being a partner to businesses, people in our community.
How do people use credit? A lot of people kind of say, well, no, I'm not using credit for nothing. I pay cash for everything.
Right. Well, it's one of those things that there's, when you can't talk about wealth, you can't talk about generational wealth, you can't talk about big business without speaking of credit, leverage, access to capital. It's no other way, right? Now, the problem is when you take a poverty mentality or a lack mentality and put it on credit, put it on credit cards. Credit cards are not the way to do it. Credit cards are designed, it's a specific financial instrument. It's designed with high interest rates. So if you fund a lot of people that are doing it, kind of exploiting our community, just like the payday lenders, is putting out these high interest rate credit cards. That's not the way to do it. I tell people all the time, and the analogy that I give is Dave Ramsey, for example, right? I think that he does it. I think that he delivers excellent, awesome I like Dave Ramsey. However, Dave Ramsey does not tell you how to build wealth. Dave Ramsey shows you how to get out of debt. So if you have a debt problem, if you have a problem spending money, if you don't have the self-discipline to pay your bills, follow Dave Ramsey. But if you're an entrepreneur, if you're interested in building wealth, you have to see the logic and the truth in the argument of using credit to make more money. Right? Because this is what the corporations do. This is the foundation of our country. It's built on debt. So if you're looking to have a business of any value, you have to be able to leverage that. And the mechanism by which we use to leverage debt is our credit score. That's what has been popularly told, right?
Yeah.
So, your personal credit score is your credibility. When you have poor credibility, they do not lend you money. But if you set up your business the right way, and you set up your LLC the right way, you can have an infinite number of LLCs. And you can use the credit of your LLC to leverage. 90% of the businesses fail. Set up your businesses the right way. You don't have to put your family, you don't have to put your personal credit, you don't have to jeopardize your personal assets. If you use the power of the LLC and use the credit of the LLC. Simple as that. And just to give you one analogy so you understand, we talked about it before, that Donald Trump has over 500 LLCs, right? So one man has 500 LLCs, but he's been able to literally level up, like credit to the point where he's filed bankruptcy 4 times, but he's never filed under his personal income. So he's free to go out and borrow more money again, and he's perfected the process so well that no bank in the United States will lend Donald Trump money. This is the president of the country, but he's perfected business credit so well that no bank in the United States will lend him money. It's been this way for over a decade. So how does he get his money? He has to go to foreign countries. He has to go to Russia. He has to literally go to states that are outside of our jurisdiction, because his financial structure is that well that he's able to leverage hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars and walk away from those companies should things not go the way he wants them to, right? Like, he's used the laws of our country to create a tremendous amount of wealth for himself, and people don't realize that. There's a method to that. If you understand what he's doing, you can do it. It's as simple as that.
Wow. I was going to ask you to elaborate a little bit more on the LLCs, because if you're saying there's a right way, so you're telling me that there is a wrong way as well.
Correct.
But I don't know if you could get into a little bit of what the right way is, or is that something that they'll learn?
The right way is very simple. The right way is to set up your business, set up your LLC that's not connected to your personal credit profile at all, right? So you don't become a statistic, meaning that you minimize risk doing it that way. So if you set up your LLC that's not connected to your personal income, right, and then your personal credit profile, you literally, the reason why I say everybody needs to have an LLC is because your lifestyle should be your business. And everything you do in your lifestyle should be a tax deduction. Right. Every expense that you make should be a tax deduction. And if you do that, and if you set that up right, you begin to treat your LLC as a completely separate legal entity that will have the ability to bring you to where you need to go. And then the fact is, if you leverage your personal credit, your personal credit will always be capped by the W-2 income you make. But if you are able to have a business, there is no cap on it. You can set up multiple businesses, and the reason why I say structure it the right way is because each LLC that you create, and mind you, I say LLC, but I mean S Corp, C Corp, LLP, as long as it's a completely separate legal entity, right? So if you structure it the right way, each LLC you have should have a purpose. If you get to the point where you have so many assets and you don't want people knowing, you don't want it to be public record, and you want to focus on privacy, you go to those states that have no privacy laws. If you are interested in low taxes and you don't want to pay taxes, you go to those states that have no taxes, like like Delaware, Nevada, you go, it really just depends on what the purpose of your LLC and what you're hoping to accomplish. So when I say structuring it the right way, you have to take these things into consideration. You have to take into consideration what's the best legal entities from which to operate on. Right now, we said that the S Corp is in vogue just because of the Trump tax laws. There's certain provisions, the tax code for 2019, that allow us to get a tremendous, big deduction. 20% of your taxable income is being reduced if you set it up right through the S Corp. However, a couple years before, it wasn't in vogue to have an S Corp. We didn't have that existing. So what we saw last year is a lot of companies that were maybe LLCs started switching over to the S Corp. But we have to know that there are wealthy people that write our laws. And our tax laws change every single year. So you have to get an accountant or a CPA, somebody that understands where the money is going, where the loopholes are.
Gotcha. And
you have to move with them on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
You have to come up with strategy that allows you to minimize the amount of money you spend or you give to the IRS on a yearly basis. That's why when you look at, we talk about Amazon, when Jeff Bezos paid, it made billions of dollars, but they paid $0 in tax. All of these things are known, and we only think about the wealthy. But look at Kanye West, right? Kanye West, who recently just became a billionaire himself. He publicly said, and look, I basically was on the brink of filing for bankruptcy, and, a couple years later, I got a tax return because why? He went and he found the CPA, realized the loopholes. He went and got a tax return, a check. He got a check from the government of $38 million. $38 million tax return check for a guy that just went through bankruptcy a couple of years.
Yeah. Wow.
So the point I'm trying to make is the laws are there to those that have the knowledge to follow and structure. So one of the reasons why I said the power of the LLC is because you can literally set up 3 different LLCs, you being all the same owner, and you can take $50,000, and if one LLC is doing business with another LLC, you've created commerce, right? But that same $50,000, it should can be an expense to one LLC, but income to another. When you have income, you have to pay taxes on it. You pay the taxes on it. You've shown $50,000, but you do that for 2 years, and then we can give you a $500,000 line of credit. This is, these are things that most people wouldn't know.
Wow. How can people reach you directly?
Well, yeah, so I have a business. It's called moneyapp.com. The legal name is Money Avenue LLC. But, I am my business, right? So we are literally a fintech bank. You can definitely, business-wise, you can reach out to the business. We'll help you get structured. We'll help you get set up. We'll help you find money. We will be a partner. We'll fund all your deals. We'll, whether it's payday lending, you want to eradicate that, join our mission. We can fund you with really quick loans if you need something real fast, like a $500 loan. Or if you want to buy real estate, we can fund a regular house. Or if you're a real estate developer, which we're trying to create more of, we could do a $200 million deal. We do those type projects. But me, myself, I am on social media just like most people. So my social media handles on all platforms is Donahue Baker. Donahue is DONAHUE Baker. Donahue Baker on all platforms. So
I have like 2 more questions. So the stock market goes up, goes down. It's unpredictable. Some people are afraid to invest. So if you were to invest in stocks right now, what are some suggestions that you would have for people, during these times? Do they keep the money in, take the money out?
So the last stock I invested in was Tesla. I bought Tesla at $33.
Wow,
right?
good for you.
I made the decision because it was ruining my life, because Tesla was such a volatile stock. I used to watch every single day. This thing used to go up and down. So got in at 33. I ended up selling at about 240, 250 in that range. I thought I did pretty well. I got out, actually had a Tesla. The amount of money I made off it allowed me to buy a Tesla. So I thought I did pretty well. That was until, this year Tesla hit $900. So, and I haven't been in the stock market just because I'm not built for it. I'm not built look at the tickers every day, watching the movement.
Yeah.
It's just, if I'm a very active, hands-on investor, I need to be able to see what I own. I need to be able to think that I can affect it, right? So the reason why I said I was going to sell my last stock and move on, because I realized that anything can happen. COVID, anything can happen that would affect the stock, that the company that I thought was fundamentally sound, that has the ideals and the vision and the plans for the future, the market share, everything that I would believe in and say, well, this is a company that's going to be here and I want to invest with them, all can be derailed due to factors that I can't control.
Yeah.
So me personally, it just doesn't, the stock market doesn't work. It's a game that is being played amongst people that are not like you and I. And I was able to see that on a number of different occasions, that there are forces at play that are not playing on it's not for the average person, right? Unless you have, I don't know if you know who Roger Raffin is, but unless you have the insider knowledge. I mean, if you his trial exposed so much. You know, it shows you how these hedge fund managers are able to just, you know, play on a different level. You know, the resources that they have, even the location of their offices, they're able to do high-speed trading. And just, you know, for each trade, even if they, you know, get an extra penny on a trade, it's like, you know, there's so many different ways that they're making money. It's beyond the layman, right? It's beyond the layman. So, me personally, I made a decision to exit the stock market, never to return. Now, there's people that can make money in the stock market, kudos. I put all my money into real estate. Since then, I've purchased a number of different properties. The last one I purchased was a few months ago. I bought a $5.6 million 100-unit apartment complex. That building is worth over $12 million today.
Wow.
So, because I focused on one asset class, I didn't, you know, do stocks. I didn't jump around, and I was just able to focus on one thing, focus on the market, and do it well. So kudos to people that are doing stocks, you know. But for me, it was real estate. I focused on that. I looked for my opportunity, took it, and it worked, you know. But I commend people that are able to day trade and make a living from stocks every day. I can't. It's just not my. It's not my life.
Yeah.
You know.
It's not your cup of tea. So, what keeps you motivated? Because it seems like you know, you're doing a lot of stuff, and I know you have a family. What keeps you motivated and keep that same mindset?
You know, I'm motivated. Just, you know, I look around me and, you know, creating other entrepreneurs, creating people that are helping people to build wealth. That's really my motivation. And that's, you know, my passion. And that's what I built. Like, I started doing it as a CPA, but it's really been the thing that's been driving me for over 10 years. As a CPA, I would help people come up with tax strategy and you know, just build wealth. The essence of it, tax strategy, real estate investments, and wealth management, which is key. So, you know, the wealth management side of it, we didn't talk about, but ultimately that's the goal of our company, Money Ave. But those three pillars has really been the foundation of my life. And, you know, I get tremendous enjoyment, you know, helping other people see that.
Well, this is just the surface interview. I know that you have a group on Facebook too, so I just want to make sure that everybody still focuses on finding you and being able to partake in everything that you have to offer. So this is just, you know, this is just a little surface information for all my listeners.
Can I mention the Facebook group?
Yes, you can.
So I do have a Facebook group. It's called Generational Wealth Builders. Now, on this group, literally what we do is, you know, the goal of the group is just that. We're looking to build generational wealth. So you will get income producing opportunities. We will analyze real estate deals. There was an opportunity to make $10 million on a real estate deal in New Jersey that we just introduced to the group.
Awesome.
And a lot of these deals are live. So as I'm actively out in the marketplace looking for deals, I bring them to the group first. And we chop it up. We have meetings. We'll do Zoom calls, and the whole idea is to educate, get everybody up to speed on the terminology, the things that we look for in properties. What is the ROI? How do we determine the cash on cash return? What are the key metrics we look for? What are the dynamics of real estate development? We talk about the political side. It's not just analytics, but it's also the relationships that we need with the people in power down at the municipality, the zoning office. Every city in the country has a master plan, right? That master plan says within the next 5 years, our city needs certain things. It could be affordable housing, it could be senior living, it could be veterans housing, whatever it is. The key is finding out what that master plan is, delivering that, right? And that money as if you have a deal and you don't have the money, what we do, and this is what makes us different than Chase or Bank of America, what we do, because as a developer, we will invest in your real estate deal. We will show you how you retain some ownership, but if we're putting all the money up, we'll show you how it's done. So then on your next deal, you can emulate and rip and repeat that process.
Yeah.
And that's how you create real wealth. So it's something that we're doing, and we welcome anyone that is like-minded.
Yeah. That's awesome. Everything that you have going on, like the tools, this is what everyone needs to be successful. And I appreciate you for talking to me today. And we still have to get you here to New York, to the studio.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Right now it's temporarily closed. We have a tentative date of June 22nd. So I'm looking forward to that. But it's been...
Well, I'm going to be in New York doing, I think... I don't know. Have you had a show called EYL?
EYL? No.
It's Earn Your Leisure. Oh, because I'm scheduled to be doing them. I think because they're working on a new studio, so it's like I'm going to be in New York, so I'm just saying maybe if the dates work out, I can come check you too as well.
Oh, nice.
So yeah,
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, my listeners, I'm pretty sure would appreciate a part 2 conversation about wealth management.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'll definitely set that up and put that on the agenda. But thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate you. And any last words that you want to tell my listeners?
Just, continue to, support, because there's a big picture. So continue to unite, continue to speak out, protest. Everybody doesn't have to march to protest. There's so many different other things that we can do, but it's so important that we speak out and we be uniformed in what we're trying to accomplish. So I just want to leave people with that.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Alrighty, so thank you so much for the opportunity, and I look forward to hearing from you soon again, and be safe out there.